What started as a conflict between just a few countries has now spiraled into something far bigger. In just a matter of days, the war has widened dramatically, dragging in more nations, triggering massive economic consequences, and creating some of the most surreal news moments the internet has seen in years. From the first confirmed American casualties, to fighter jets being shot down by friendly fire, to oil markets shaking across the globe. There is a lot to unpack, and that's not all. We're also going to talk about the bizarre internet moment that fooled millions of people online, raising serious questions about what we can even trust anymore in the age of AI. And finally, as promised, we'll break down the stunning political development involving former US President Bill Clinton, who has now become the first former president in modern history to testify before Congress in a case connected to one of the most controversial scandals of the century. So buckle up, because today's War Room special has a lot to cover, and trust me, some of these updates sound almost unbelievable. Let's start with the war. Over the weekend, the United States and Israel confirmed something that immediately sent shockwaves through global politics. Iran's supreme leader has been killed. According to statements from both American and Israeli officials, the initial wave of strikes targeting Iran's leadership successfully eliminated multiple high-level figures inside the country's power structure. Among those killed was Iran's supreme leader himself, a man who had ruled the country for nearly 4 decades. Just think about that for a moment. 40 years of leadership suddenly gone overnight. But the shock didn't stop there. Reports from Iranian media indicate that several members of his family were also killed in the same strike, including close relatives who were reportedly present at the targeted location. The announcement was delivered on Iranian national television, where presenters appeared visibly emotional as the news was confirmed to the public. Almost immediately after that announcement, another statement was released by the Israeli Defense Forces on social media. According to their statement, more than 16 senior figures connected to Iran's so-called Axis leadership network were eliminated during the coordinated operation. 16 top officials. To understand the scale of that, imagine if the 16 most powerful people in your own government suddenly disappeared in a single night. The power vacuum alone would be enormous, and this moment may mark one of the biggest political shifts inside Iran in decades. But while the leadership losses inside Iran have dominated headlines, the war itself has continued to escalate rapidly. For the first time since the conflict began, the United States has confirmed its own military casualties. U.S. Central Command announced that 4 American service members were killed during operations connected to the conflict. Officials have not yet released details about how the deaths occurred or where the incident took place, explaining that the identities will remain private until the families have been fully notified. 5 additional service members reportedly sustained injuries, though most were described as minor, including concussions and shrapnel wounds. Many of those injured have already returned to duty. President Trump later addressed the deaths publicly, acknowledging that the conflict could result in additional loss. He stated that while every effort will be made to protect American troops, war always carries risks, and those risks have already become visible in unexpected ways, because one of the most shocking moments of the weekend involved American fighter jets being shot down, not by an enemy force, but by friendly fire. 3 US F-15E fighter jets crashed in Kuwait after being mistakenly targeted by a missile defense system. Video footage circulating online shows the aircraft spiraling downward in flames while the pilots eject moments before impact. Thankfully, all of the pilots survived and were quickly recovered by search and rescue teams. But the incident highlights just how chaotic modern warfare can become. Even more ironic, the missile defense system responsible for the accident was originally supplied to Kuwait by the United States itself. Each of those F-15E aircraft is estimated to cost roughly $90 million. So the loss represents not only a dangerous moment for pilots, but also a massive financial hit. Meanwhile, the economic consequences of the conflict are already being felt around the world. Energy markets have reacted sharply to the escalating tensions.
Qatar, one of the world's largest exporters of liquefied natural gas, was forced to pause part of its production after Iranian missiles reportedly struck near major facilities. Saudi Arabia also experienced disruptions after intercepted missiles caused debris to fall into one of its largest oil refineries, triggering a large fire that temporarily halted production. But perhaps the most significant development involves the Strait of Hormuz. This narrow waterway is one of the most critical shipping routes on the planet. A huge portion of the world's oil supply passes through it every single day. Iran has now reportedly targeted ships moving through the region and attempted to disrupt traffic. The impact on markets was immediate. When financial markets reopened after the weekend, oil prices surged. Gas prices jumped dramatically, at one point rising more than 40% compared to the previous Friday. Brent crude oil climbed to around $82 per barrel, marking its highest level in over a year. And that was just the first wave of economic shock. At the same time, reports emerged of an unusual cyber operation that added another layer to the unfolding situation. According to Iranian sources, hackers linked to the United States managed to infiltrate Iran's national television broadcast. During the interruption, viewers reportedly saw a recorded message from President Trump directed at the Iranian people. The speech encouraged citizens to pursue what he described as a new future for their country. Subtitles in Arabic were reportedly added to ensure the message could be widely understood across the region. Shortly after that, another broadcast message from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu allegedly appeared as well. If confirmed, it would represent one of the most unusual examples of psychological warfare in modern conflicts. But the biggest concern right now is how quickly the conflict is spreading. When the fighting first began, only 3 countries were directly involved: the United States, Israel, and Iran. Now, the number of countries affected has jumped to 13. One of the most serious escalations occurred when Iran launched missiles toward British military installations located in Cyprus. That attack effectively brought the conflict onto European territory for the first time. In response, the United Kingdom authorized the United States to use its regional bases for operations aimed at destroying Iranian missile systems. Meanwhile, Hezbollah forces operating out of Lebanon launched their own strikes against Israel in support of Iran. That development pulled Lebanon directly into the crisis as well. NATO officials have also commented on the situation. While the alliance has not yet deployed its own forces into the conflict, its Secretary General warned that Iran's actions represent a growing threat to regional stability. For now, NATO appears to be allowing the United States and Israel to lead the response. But the situation is evolving so quickly that analysts say the number of countries involved could continue to rise. And that brings us to one of the strangest internet moments of the weekend. A viral video began spreading across social media showing actor Jim Carrey appearing at an awards ceremony in Paris.
At first glance, it looked completely normal, but viewers quickly noticed something unusual. Many people online began questioning whether the person in the video actually looked like Jim Carrey at all. Speculation exploded. Some people assumed the actor had simply changed his appearance. Others started suggesting something far more bizarre, that the person on stage might actually be an impersonator. The internet quickly labeled the theory a conspiracy. But then something unexpected happened. A well-known impersonator named Alexis Stone posted a photo on Instagram showing himself dressed exactly like Jim Carrey. The caption read, "Alexis Stone as Jim Carrey in Paris." Suddenly, the entire situation became confusing. Was the viral video showing the real Jim Carrey or an elaborate impersonation? To make things even stranger, some users now claim that the Instagram post itself might be AI generated. So we've reached a point where people aren't sure whether the video is real, whether the impersonator is real, or whether both are real. It's a perfect example of how difficult it has become to separate truth from illusion in the digital age. And just when you think the weekend couldn't get any more intense, another major news story emerged inside the United States. A mass shooting occurred in Austin, Texas early Sunday morning. 3 people were killed and 14 others injured after a gunman opened fire outside a crowded bar around 2 a.m. Police responded incredibly quickly, arriving in less than a minute. The suspect was shot and killed at the scene. Authorities have since identified the shooter as a naturalized American citizen who originally entered the country decades ago. Investigators are now examining possible ideological motives. Witnesses reported that the attacker was wearing clothing featuring symbols associated with Iran, which has led
led federal authorities to explore whether the attack could have connections to extremist influences. At the moment, that possibility remains under investigation. And finally, one of the most politically significant developments of the weekend. Former President Bill Clinton appeared before Congress to provide testimony connected to investigations surrounding Jeffrey Epstein. The hearing lasted approximately 6 hours. Because of the sensitive nature of the case, the testimony was conducted behind closed doors. According to officials present during the session, Clinton denied any wrongdoing and stated that he had no knowledge of Epstein's criminal activities at the time. He acknowledged that he had flown on Epstein's plane in the past, but insisted that he would never have done so if he had known what was happening. A full transcript of the testimony is expected to be released in the coming days, and when it is, it will likely generate an entirely new wave of headlines. Because if the last few days have proven anything, it's that the world right now is moving very, very fast, and we'll keep tracking every major development as it unfolds.